you. So Julie Foucault is a Power BI expert and trainer. She develops custom training specifically for Power BI, and she is hosting our training sessions later this month for outcome tracker and database administrators, as well as shelter directors and evaluators. I'll be sharing the registration information after her presentation, as well as be sharing a video of this demonstration with everyone as well. So without any further ado, I'll pass it off to Julie.
Hi. Well, thank you very much, Katie, for introducing me. So I'll try right away to share my screen. Great. I assume that it's working. Were you still on, Katie?
It's working perfectly. Thanks, Julie.
Okay. So today I want to introduce you to Power BI. So I'm going to tell you what Power BI is about as a global solution. And then I'm going to focus on how ACWS recommends that you use it at first and what is going to be covered in the trainings being offered. So Power BI as a global solution is actually multiple environments. So there is an application, which is the new word for software, called Power BI Desktop. So the Power BI Desktop, so this is the image you see on my slide, is like your Excel or Word, PowerPoint. It's the software you have on your computer and where you work to create reports, dashboards. So the whole point about Power BI, it's only about creating reports, dashboards, okay, making charts and tables. So you have the data somewhere, and then you bring that data in Power BI to make your reports. So that's what you do in the Power BI Desktop, and that's free. And the trainings later this month will be about the amazing power of Power BI Desktop and how it can be very useful to you. So the next step is the Power BI service. So that's a cloud environment. A cloud environment means that you have access to it through a web browser. So you go on the internet, you log in with your Microsoft account. It's all secured, just like you can access your emails on a web browser. So you go to that Power BI service environment, and the whole point of that environment, actually that's the lucrative part for Microsoft. So that's where they start making money. So the whole point for that Power BI service, it's really for large organizations that will publish loads of reports that are very dynamic, that can get updated every hour. And for all the users, all the employees to have access on any device, phone, tablet, or their PC, they can have access to updated reports. And each employee only have access to reports that were specifically shared with them. So this works out with the whole Office 365 environment. So in your business office environment, you define maybe groups of people, like distribution lists in your email. So you have the group of managers and a group of marketing managers, or the group of all employees. And then when you share your reports on the Power BI service, you identify each report to whom is it directed to. So I have one report which is for all my employees, and another report that I upload up there is only for my division supervisors, and so on. So when any employee log in to the Power BI service, they have access to the latest version of the reports, and only for the reports that they have the rights to have access to. So that's the Power BI service. So the big benefit from the Power BI service is that you you identify once who has access to the report, and then it's tied to their regular account and they just log in and have access to. All the other benefits of Power BI reports, it's about building your report once, and your report is tied to the data in its raw format. And afterwards, anytime you want an update, you just get your refresh data and hit refresh, and your report is all refreshed. So there's no tweaking the data. Most people, they build report in Excel, so they extract from a database, then they need to do all sorts of transformation, copy, paste, pivot table, VLOOKUPs if you're more advanced, and then eventually you get your files of your report updated. And that's so much work that you do it only once a quarter because it's just too painful to get that report. So the whole intent with Power BI is that, yes, the first time you work a lot and you build your report, but afterwards, every day, you can just hit refresh and your report is refreshed in less than a minute. So I'll demonstrate that today. I'll demonstrate how it makes amazing interactive reports, and then I'll show you very quickly what can it look like and how, and also that it's user-friendly to build your reports and then to update it. So how does it work? In the free version, so I have here on my desktop a Power BI file. So somebody already built a report and they shared that report with me. So since we don't pay for extra licensing, we just share the Power BI file like we used to share Excel files. So I open it up, and now it's going to launch the Power BI desktop application, which is installed on my computer. It is free to install the Power BI desktop. Katie has sent you links for you to download it if you don't have it yet. So my report opens up, and now I'm in the environment like when I'm in Excel. I'm in an environment where I can create and edit. So there's lots of menus everywhere, so I can hide those. I'll collapse all the menus for now so that we can focus and only see a report. So what is the great and amazing part about my Power BI reports is that they are interactives. So if I look at this report on paper, I'll look at the first column chart out here, my total turnaways. Actually, so just to mention, this is a report that you probably saw last year. It was prepared by the head office, and it's aggregate data going from 2014 to 2018, the fiscal years. Currently, I'm displaying data for a shelter at the upper left of my report, and this is not a real shelter. Okay, so and same thing during the training, we'll be using data files, and it's data files that have been improvised, just recreating what could be data for one specific shelter. So, so I'm a shelter, and I got this report now in a Power BI format. When this report was sent out to you, it was sent out as a PDF file. So in the PDF file for the total turnaways, you could see values. Like for instance, for 2018, for the Calgary area, you could see 7,152 turnaways. That's information you can see on a piece of paper. If I'm in Power BI desktop, when I hover with my mouse on one particular area of the report, then I can see the same information I just told you, summarize, but also additional information. Those 7,000 turnaways were actually close to 5,000 women and 2,000 children. So just a nice thing, looking at my reports online, I can add, so I can keep the chart clean and powerful and talking to me, showing me information. and then also allow for somewhere to have additional information to pop up. One chart can even hide another chart. So when I'm over this chart, I see arrows at the top, like double arrows, go to the next level. So if I click on that, I now have a new split. I'll now have the same information, but per shelter type. So emergency, second stage, and seniors. So behind, there's the data file, and Power BI is connecting to that data file and is able to, within a few clicks, display the information in different formats. So that's interesting. So I see here for Calgary, I see over 28,000 turnaways. That seems like a large amount. So if I go back up to the other axis, I now realize that in this chart, it is historical data. So I have my data from 2014 to 2018. So that's 5 years. So when I go down to get my split per shelter type, well, that's the aggregate of those 5 years. But fortunately enough for me, the report creator thought of that, and they added here a nice slicer, we call. So if I select only the latest year, I now get a value that makes more sense. I'll now get 6,000. And remember that on the previous level, we had 7,000. So actually, if I would get my 6,000 here for the emergency, and then 700s in second stage, and a few seniors, well, that's going to add up to our 7,000 that we were seeing at the other level. So it's really all about making a dynamics report that has more data. And as you can see now that when I use my slicer on a page, it affects all charts on the page. So I'm going to remove that so that my other charts all come back to their original format. And here I'm going to drill up, and I'm back to the original report that I got. If you want to take an up close look at some chart, you can do so. So here at the top, I have a table that seems to have lots of additional information. If we would scroll down to the right, there would be more columns. Well, for that report, I can go in focus mode, and then I see the whole columns. So I can have a report that has a table of information that has like the most important information listed at first. That's what I see on my report page. But when I zoom in it, I could have added some more columns with more detailed yet relevant information. That's really about interacting with a report. I'll just give another quick example. Again, the shelter information being displayed here is not of a real specific shelter. It is of a shelter that I've created the data. So here is a report where my shelter is being compared with the average in my area. So here are my shelters turnaway, and I see for the area of smaller towns and rural emergency centers, I'm being compared with that area. If I like, since those are made available for me, I could say, well, yes, I am in the smaller town and rural areas, but I'd rather compare myself with the average for shelters for small cities. Okay, I can see that I'm way below that average now. But really is to show you that I put data in a report, and now I can, and now every user can play with it as they'd like. So Power BI is making interactive dynamic reports where each report consumer can then play around with what has been prepared already and get sometimes more powerful insights that are more significant to each user. Now, I'll show you from scratch how I could build a chart. So how is this software working? So I'll start new. So when I launch a new report, I start on a blank page. So now I need to prepare my data, and the only preparation is just download it. So you can see here, I prepared myself a folder, demo, and I got an extract from Outcome Tracker about the emergency calls. And you can see right away here that is not a real extract. I've named myself Shelter B. Okay, but this is really, if some of you guys have seen the extract as they come out of Outcome Tracker, that's really how it comes out, like with a column with system name ID, the name of the person is hidden, you have dates, lots of information, and your shelter name is the last column. So obviously, first step is just get that extract and save it somewhere on your computer. So I've saved it in my demo folder. So now I'm ready to build a report in a few minutes. So I'll bring back my menu bar. So I'm gonna get data, and what I'm getting is a CSV file, because that's how it comes out of my Outcome Tracker. And I'm gonna go to my demo folder, and here's my file. So I just select it. And now it's going to show me a sample. So I can validate if I'm about to upload the right thing. Yep, that's what I want to upload. So I'm just going to say load. So now it's working on it. A little slower when team is running at the same time. So something now appeared in my fields panel. So what appeared is I see here an icon of a table, and it's called Emergency Crisis Calls Extract. That's what I brought in. And when I expand it, that's the list in alphabetical order of all the columns in there. Actually, I can view that data. So here I'm on the blank page where I will build my report, but I can go to Data View, and now I see that's the file that I uploaded. So let's build a chart. So I'm back to report view, and I'll start with a column chart. So I have icons here of all the basic charts that I might want to use. So I pick that up. Once I select a chart, I see below here new fields that have appeared for an axis, legend, value. So I'll fill this up. Power BI is quite smart. When I bring in a date field, it creates for me a hierarchy. So identifying for those dates, year, quarter, and month. So I'll bring my month to the axis, and then I need to count something. So this is my calls. So I'll count how many system name IDs. So I'll show you here. So this first column here, my system name IDs, that kind of represents one call each row. So what I'll do is that value, I'll bring it to values. And voila, I get a chart. Very easy to resize or to move around. So here's my chart. Am I getting the right value? That's always something I can question. So I can see an average maybe of just above 70 for 3 months. So let's go to my data. And when I'm in data view, I can see at the bottom that my extract has over 200 rows. So makes sense. 3 times 70 would be 210. So I just quickly had a validation that I'm on the right track. So that's interesting. So that's the number of calls that I've had per month. Just by the way, the extract that I got out of Outcome Tracker was obviously my emergency calls for the first 3 months of the year. Now, what do I do next with that? I can add something in the legend. So how about I can see my calls for type requests. And obviously, it is user-friendly to format all of this. Formatting happens under the paint roller. So how about, I really don't like that orange. So for others, I'll just put it grayed out and maybe make it a more significant title. Maybe with no mistake, spelling mistakes. Okay. Quite cool. Very few minutes left. So I'll just go very quickly, not telling you all it's built, but I just changed the chart type. I decided to add my average call length. It added for me a secondary axis. I don't like, why doesn't it start my secondary axis at 0? I just go in here and I say, always start my axis at 0. And boom, how interesting. So I have my calls per type and I get the average call length. All of that in a few minutes. So I'm quite happy up to now. Actually, that's the only chart I wanted to see with that in that report. So I'll just save it and I can share it with people or just keep it on my computer. And what's going to happen next month? I don't need to redo all that. Next month, well, obviously, I need to go on in Outcome Tracker and get an updated extract. So I just have that. So I get it from my Outcome Tracker. And now I just replaced the file that I had. So when I started my report, that's the file I use in my demo folder. So I'll just replace it with the new version. So what's going to happen in my report? See that I have 3 columns. I'll just hit refresh. Boom. And now I have 4. Okay, so that's the whole strength of Power BI. Taking my extract from my database in its raw format, and then I bring it in Power BI and I build my report based on those raw extracts. So then afterwards, I just get a new extract, replace it in the location where I saved it on my computer, and hit refresh. So that's my promotional speech on Power BI. Really an amazing tool. So the 3 sessions that I've been prepared for you guys. First session, we'll really explore the environment. I showed very quickly how it's interactive and all the things you can do with it. So we'll pursue understanding like the strength of the tool and all it can do. Then we will learn to build a few charts, like the one I just built in a minute. It is interactive training sessions, so it's not only watching like I just did, but really having you do the exercises during the training. Then I'll give you takeaway exercises for you to do, like a little 10-minute exercise just to wrap up what we've learned. And then in the second session, we'll build like a full report, because the strength of Power BI, I just showed you, I brought one extract from Outcome Tracker. But the whole point is bringing many extracts and putting different data together to get better insights. So that's what we do in the second session, again, with a small exercise to take home. And last session, we start looking into more advanced functionalities. So like I just did, using all the basic buttons, but eventually if you want to build more complex models, you'll need to use other functionalities, which we start exploring. And we review this fantastic update process of replace the file and get the updated report. So I think maybe you can come back on, Katie, or if other people have questions.
Thank you very much, Julie. That was really great. I'm cognizant of time, and I think Sharon has joined us as well, but I'll just put out, if anyone does have an urgent question that they want to get answered right now, to put it out. I do see someone with their hand up. Or is that Esther? Esther, did you have a question?
I do. Thank you. Thanks for that nice overview, Julie. My question is, once we've built a dashboard, I understand that we have access, obviously we can use it on desktop or cloud-based. Many users can access the information. I'm wondering if it can actually live live on your actual desktop, so that once it's created, a copy can be a shortcut to a desktop that we can refresh and access as we like.
Yes, because I mean, just like I've saved the file here, or you can save something, a shortcut that's going to go to the file. And the file, I assume, like in your organization, you probably have SharePoint or shared folders among a few people. Like only my managers have access to one shared folder. So if you save the report in there and also save the extracts from your database in that shared folder, then it is accessible at any time by anyone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks for that. Were there any other questions that folks had right now? And also, if you do have questions later, you can feel free to email me, and I'll put my email in the chat box as well and can get back to you. And I'll also be posting this video if you want to revisit it, and sharing the registration information in the chat box as well as the bulletin this afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Julie, and thank you, Katie. Sorry, Katie, was there something else?
No, I'm just going to stop the recording now.
So thank you for inviting me, and see you in 2 weeks, I think.
Thanks very much, Julie.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thank you, Julie.